But actually, before we get into that, we've obviously, apart from being friends, we've got other history together. We did work on work meaning I worked on a deal for you guys.
Yeah.
We sold one of a property.
Yep.
For you. How was that experience?
It was. I mean, overall, it was good. It was a good experience. A family member wanted to sell a property.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you, got in touch with you, and you got on board.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming with us. Appreciate the business always.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where you always want to go to somebody you can trust. I think real estate agents, they've got a
Bad rap.
yeah. Whether it's true or not, they've got a bad rep.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know, like a traffic warden, like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say traffic wardens are hated more. But yeah. So I mean, when it comes to something like that, you always want somebody you can trust, somebody somebody you can personally vouch for. And yeah, I think it was a great service from A to Z. Yeah, you helped out with everything in terms of putting the property on the market, dealing with the viewings, even giving feedback after when an offer came through.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, the person who ended up buying the property, the offer they came in with, I think to us, it felt somewhat a little low.
Yeah.
And then the advice you gave was that actually it's a good offer considering, all the various factors.
Yeah, because it's been a couple of years now, or it's been at least a year, right? And
At least a year.
and I think the way the market was going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big part of a real, let's say real estate. I was going to say estate agent's job is to give you kind of idea of which direction the market's going. The advice. A lot of the time, deals don't happen because expectations are quite high, and the agent's not able to portray or display, why it's still a good offer. Do you see what I mean? Demonstrate why it's still a good offer. I think on that one it was restricted to cash buyers as well. And now we see where the market is now.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this. I mean, had we waited or rejected that offer and waited, if we would have been able to sell the property at all, we definitely would have got. I'm thinking good. I mean, looking at the market, probably 30k less, probably.
I would say so. Yeah.
So, I mean, your advice, it paid off. And
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. But overall, the experience, and obviously you're my friend. I know you for a while, so probably always be biased. But I think if I'm trying to look at it from a outside perspective, neutral perspective, I think the service was top notch.
Oh, thanks. No, I like to start the podcast with some biased reviews of City Realtor.
Yeah, and you can tell I'm biased because I'm wearing your merch.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You know what? You walked in, I thought I walked in. I was like, what's going on? But yeah, no. Also, it's good that you guys took on that advice, because some people won't, and they won't listen to the advice. It could have, like, if you didn't, you would have been in a much worse position, possibly not being able to sell, or if you really did want to still sell, would have sold for much less. So no, good. It's good that you guys did listen and did.
And I think
make
it was
a good decision.
relatively quickly, right? I think the whole process from start to finish.
Yeah.
How long was it? I think it was less than 6 months.
It was definitely less than 6 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say it's probably somewhere around the 4-month mark.
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
I remember.
But sales recently are taking increasingly longer and longer time for some reason. I'm blaming the solicitors, but but it is generally getting stuck there a lot. I don't know what's going on. Previously, I mean, in the older days when I did sales, and I've only been in property sales for 10 years or so, but I felt like they had a bit more urgency in them, and they really wanted to push them through. I don't know.
But do you think
could be red tape?
Do you think there's also an element of, from the buyer side, a hesitancy, thinking I might find a
no.
Or,
I mean,
or even either side. It could be from the buyer side or the seller side. The seller side thinking, actually, am I getting a good price? The market as it is, should I just hold on? Because that's, I mean, looking at the market now, there's a lot of people out there who are waiting on selling because of the nature of the market at the moment.
That's before even agreeing a deal you're talking about. But that is true. I mean, people are hesitant at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about once you've agreed a deal.
Yeah.
It's taking more and more longer these days.
Okay, so it's
get that
nothing
through.
really to do with the buyer or the seller.
That part isn't, no.
Okay.
But
So
at
really,
the moment, the market
it is
is
the
slow.
solicitors.
Yeah, that part, yeah, good thing. Because we found, I mean, in terms of Oh, I see what you're saying. Were you saying like in all, like when by the time we found a buyer, locked it up and everything?
Yeah.
That might have been under 6 months. Yeah. That was, and that's pretty good timeline to be fair to be able to find a buyer and sell the property within that time. Generally, most agents will have like a 12-week sole agency, and after that, the job is. What a lot of people don't understand is finding the buyer is just one part of the estate agent's job. Progressing it is you could say sometimes it's the harder part, because then you have to start dealing with solicitors, and sometimes when it's not solicitors that I would have recommended or wouldn't have, people that I have relationship with, they generally don't like agents, or maybe it's not a like thing, maybe it's not, but they're very standoffish. They're like, look, you're not my client, stop calling, stop. But our job is to call and try and progress the sale and make sure it happens. Do you see what I mean? Because unlike solicitors, we don't get paid until the whole thing completes, whereas they will get paid upon instruction. But yeah, I think I'm digressing a little bit too much into that. One thing are we allowed to talk about what happened with the council?
Well,
like, remember you guys found a buyer initially?
Oh yeah, before that, so I think at that point maybe the council were exploring buying some properties back from landlords.
Yeah.
And they came in with a decent offer. It was
very
actually
good offer,
very, very good offer at the
very
time.
good offer.
And what happened was we had a family living there at the time, and complications around that. Basically, it took too long, and then the council ended up just saying withdrawing the offer and just saying, once you've got that sorted, then get back to us. But then we tried getting back to them and just literally couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah, that's another problem a lot of people face actually, is because even like every like week or so, I'll probably get a call saying, look, I want to sell my property, but I've got tenants in there and they don't quite. This is a similar sort of situation. That happens a lot, and more and more I'm having to say no to people, or saying, look, if you want, I can get someone to deal with the eviction and stuff like that. Not that I like throwing people out their homes or anything like that, but if you realistically, like if you want to try to get your property sold, you have to do that part. Not a lot of people going to buy a property with tenants in there. A lot of people are looking to buy to live in as well. But I mean, let's move on from that.